Hello everyone, so in this video I'm going to review my deluxe studio series Scavenger. Here is Scavenger. Here's a close-up of Scavenger. Get to see his face. He kind of reminds me of a guy wearing a face mask somehow. I mean, when I was a kid I didn't think of it as a face mask, but you know, after 2020 this thing kind of reminds me of those special face masks. But yeah, here's Scavenger up close. There's his legs, front of his body, the back part. You get to see his little excavator arm over there. That's the rear of Scavenger. The cab is folded up. Oh, and as you can see, you could also pivot this around to give him a little bit of a tail, or you could turn it around and bring it up. Kind of looks like Scorpion. Kind of reminds me of Scorponok when you put it this way, but it's a good option. I remember in the show he sort of, and in the movie he sort of had this down, so he sort of had a tail, so you could kind of see him with the tail. So it's your choice, but I prefer to keep mine cleaned up, so I'm gonna put it back like that. He has the option to bring it out, so it's pretty good detailing. He's got this nice little Decepticon insignia over there. Purple tracks, kind of makes him look like he's wearing purple pants. He's got the little silver here in the middle. Oh, that's pretty cool. For his articulation, his head can turn all around. It can't really look up and down that much, as you can see. His arms are on a ball joint, so you can twist them around. They can go all around. They can spread out this far. His elbows are also on the ball joint, so they could go all around, and you can bend them up to this point. He's got no waist articulation. He can do the splits. His entire leg is on the ball joint too. You could there you go, unsnap the tracks so you can see his knees. It's a single jointed knee. He's got ankle rockers over there, so you could get him on a lot of wide stance poses where his feet are still touching the ground. And he's got these little well, this articulation is more for the transformation, but those are his heel and toes can collapse onto each other, but that's more for the transformation. So he's got that one going for him. That's pretty much his articulation. So he's a pretty good figure for me. Looks pretty good. He's got his gun. This is his accessory. Let's do a little bit close up on his little handheld. Let's put him down first. That's a close up of his gun. It has what looks to me like a little bit of a clip. So I don't know. It looks like a clip to me, but I know on the show they fire lasers, but that's the impression I get when I see that that thing hanging sideways. And you know, one thing notable about Scavenger is in the movie, I think he's the guy who gunned down Prowl. So yeah, so this guy, this gun, took out an Autobot. So now I'm going to show you guys how to transform Scavenger into his backhoe / excavator mode. So I'm going to keep his gun first. So you could flip down his chest to tuck away his head. And basically you could like uncurl his arm, the arm of his backhoe mode. You could detach this, the cab. You could flip this over and angle his arms. Of course, you could also tuck in, well, you could tuck in his fists. So do that for both. Tuck in his fists. Basically, you just flip these over and that's already the top part of his excavator form. You know, just gotta line it up, make sure it's all flush. Turn this around. The tabs are a guide. If you notice, there are tabs here that fit into these little slots. So once you get that going, you pretty much got his top half. And you could also tab in his cab. You collapse his heels and toes into each other. And there's also a bit of a guide. This little, just turn around his tracks, his legs, which are his tracks. You're just pretty much going to line them up. You know, they tab in. These parts tab into slots within his tracks, and you just got to push them in together. There are also more tabs and slots to line up. So once you line that up, that's pretty much him as a construction vehicle. And here he is. Let me just make sure everything's all flush. And oh, there we are. That is his excavator mode. So there's a top view, side view, rear view, this side, bottom view, or underneath rather, and the front view. Looks pretty cool. So he's got no wheels, unfortunately, so he can't really roll, so he's kind of like a static piece. But the excavator's arm has a bit of articulation, so you could swing it around. And this entire arm piece can stretch out or fold in, so that's pretty cool. So he has got a pretty articulate excavator arm. So that's him in vehicle mode, and his transformation process is pretty quick, pretty easy. It's up to you. He's got a little bit of he's got a hole here, so you could put his gun over there. So he's got some weapon storage options to put his little rifle over here. Though I intend to put the rifle away, I like him as a regular construction vehicle because he looks pretty awesome. So that's him in his backhoe mode. Here we see Scavenger's box. It's got some nice art of Scavenger there up front. His robot form and his backhoe form. Studio series. Here's the top of the box. The bottom of the box. We got the sides. Transformer Studio series. Here's a nice artwork of Devastator on the side too. And at the back of the box you get to see a picture of Scavenger in his robot and alt mode. Devastator about to slam Sludge, and Slag about to charge him. And there it is. Scavenger combines with other Constructicons to form Devastator. So Scavenger is a deluxe, and he forms the right arm of Devastator. For a sense of scale, here he is next to fellow Devastator arm and fellow deluxe Constructicon Bone Crusher. There they are. They are the two tracked vehicles in the Constructicon team. They look pretty cool together. Scavenger is just, I think, a little bit taller than Bone Crusher. But here they are together, Devastator's arms. So I remember Scavenger from the G1 series. I remember he was the guy who was referred to as Scrounge by Scrapper while he was like using his backhoe to sense some metal, I think. So, anyways, I think there was a dialogue error, either that or that's a derogatory term to be called Scrounge, but I kind of think it's a dialogue error. But yeah, Scrapper referred to him as that, and I remember him in the G1 show he sort of had this tone of voice where he seemed like a people pleaser, and he's voiced by the same guy who did Ratchet. But true enough, in his bio card, I remember reading that he sort of has a self-esteem issue. He's eager to please the guys, but I think the other guys sort of look down on him, so he's got a little bit of an esteem issue. I remember his motto was everything has value, even me, something like that. Or everything has worth, even me. So this guy's got some esteem issues. But it's pretty cool in the show that he got the gun down prowl. So the other Constructicons gotta give him some respect for that. But anyways, yeah. So I remember Scavenger being that Decepticon that sort of had esteem issues. And in the show, I think he's a pretty useful member of the team. Bone Crusher is the guy who likes to destroy stuff and thinks of it as art. Scrapper is the planner. Hook is that arrogant guy who I guess he also helps he's like the surgeon of the team, but he's that arrogant guy. Mixmaster is that mad scientist / chemist. Long Haul is sort of the guy who does the dirty work too, and sort of complains about it. But Scavenger, he sort of reminds me of the guy who wants to be liked by people, tries to do well for his team. He doesn't really seem as bad per se as the other Constructicons, because he kind of looks like the team member who wants to fit in or wants to please the other guys. And I guess his role in the team is, well, he gets to use his little shovel when he's on vehicle mode. He gets to use it to sense around for anything valuable on the ground or on, you know. I guess he's like that guy in the beach who has that little metal detector. So that's how he strikes me as. So I reckon in the show his function was to look for valuable things for the Constructicons. So I guess hence the name Scavenger. But anyways, what I remember most about him is, yeah, he did gun down Prowl. So this is my first Hasbro Scavenger. I do have the Kubian Devastator, which is pretty cool. The third-party Kubian Devastator, which is a downsized version of the Combiner Wars one. But this guy is my first ever Hasbro Scavenger, so it's pretty cool. And overall, I think the figure is pretty good. It does him justice. He looks pretty stocky. I remember in the show he looked a little bit more, well, the Constructicons look a little bit taller and stuff, but in these representations they do look blocky. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with his overall build. Like I said, you can either make him more cartoon accurate by having this down, or you could have it folded up. So I'm cool with either, although I think I slightly like it more folded up. And yeah, so this Scavenger toy is pretty cool for me. I like him, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, that's my review. Hope to see you guys again next time.